This is Craig.
And this is Tasha.
Welcome to the Untold Experience. Real quick, we wanted to tell you about an app that we use to record our podcast. The app we use is called Anchor, and it's amazing.
Yes, we're able to record, edit, and add music to our show if we see fit. Most importantly, the app allows us to earn money, even if we are not superstars.
If you or anyone you know is interested in starting a podcast, please spread the word about Anchor. It's completely free and has been really instrumental in our work. So come and join us as we enter into the rabbit hole. Let the journey begin.
Dun-dun-dun. Guess who's back? It's your boy Phantom Rebel, aka Mr. Cox for those that don't know me. Welcome to episode 3 of the Untold Podcast. Don't mind me, I'm just making my rounds on the night watch. Living in these woods, you never know if it'll be a bear or a man that'll get you. So I tend to stand ready for both. A lot of shit going on in the country right now, hence my current situation. And what exactly is that, do you ask? How about no longer being able to afford a home that was packaged and sold to me as the American dream? Or even send my children to college, hoping that maybe one day they could live a better, more fulfilled lifestyle. So much has shifted in the last 20 years, and I shudder to think of what will happen in the next 20 if we don't start making some serious changes. Things like getting back to the basic ways of living, which may look different than the way we've come to know it. And with the right mindset, willingness to adapt, I believe we're capable of turning things around. So welcome once again, my good friends, to the Untold Podcast Experience, Zombie Apocalypse Now. I'm gonna make my way back to the trailer. I think Tasha's still up waiting for my return. I'll holler at y'all in a minute.
Hi, Candido.
Hey.
It's pretty wet out there, huh?
Quite wet indeed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Tasha here. My pronouns are she and her. Welcome to the first season and the third episode of the Untold Experience.
Welcome.
Where we're gonna talk about zombie apocalypse now. So thank you for joining us in our virtual living room. Tonight we will go down the rabbit hole. Just a few housekeeping items as usual. Got to get this stuff out of the way. First, we'd like to thank our listeners. Thank you, y'all.
Thank you guys very much.
This show wouldn't exist without you. So,
We really appreciate you guys.
Yes, we do. So thank you for all of your feedback. Thank you for your support and all of your love. Secondly, just a quick reminder that we are not experts. We're just two lovebirds going down the proverbial rabbit hole together. And tonight we're taking some of our practical knowledge that may or may not assist others in times of crises.
Yeah, honey.
Yeah. So additionally, here's how you can continue to support us. We together have committed to 10 episodes. But we'd love to continue with more seasons if y'all aren't sick of us by then. Also, give us a shout out on all the socials.
Yes. Hit us up, y'all.
Yes, please.
Because we out here.
Hashtag the Untold Experience. There's no better advertisement than word of mouth. So thank you.
Yes.
And also, we are now on all of the socials. That's what? Twitter?
Let's see, we're on Twitter,
Facebook,
TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
What else?
Instagram. All of them.
Everybody.
Yes, we are there.
So hit us up.
Yeah, the Untold Experience. All you have to do is just search for us and you'll find us. We will also put our information in the show notes just in case, we may have missed one or two.
Yeah, which is easy to do.
Yeah. You can also submit your testimonials, your victories, and any show topics that you'd like for us to tackle via our email, and that's theuntoldexperience@gmail.com. And lastly, but almost kind of important, right?
This is really important.
For monetary support, please visit our Patreon page, The Untold Experience. There you will find exclusive content, special giveaways, and more.
Yes, y'all.
Yes.
And
So
who doesn't like a free giveaway, right?
I like free giveaways.
I like free stuff too.
Me too.
You know.
Furthermore, you can also make a monthly contribution on Patreon, for $3 per month or more for supplies and equipment. So
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure with that. Liking and sharing and commenting is good enough for us.
Yes.
So, without further ado, sit back, grab your wine, your tea, beer, or whatever sustenance you choose. Water is good.
Water's always good.
Yeah. And let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, y'all.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so a little different this episode. Just jumping right into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really important topic to discuss and to kind of share with our listeners. Not necessarily to shed or to spread panic or
Right.
This isn't a necessarily a what we call it a Y2K.
Yeah.
The
Fire and brimstone
right.
type
Yeah,
episode.
no,
not in the least.
Not in the least. But this is definitely something that we should all, think about. It's
sure.
something, that unfortunately that some families do have to deal with. And so, like I said, just getting right into it. There was one point in time where our culture seemed to really sensationalize the possibilities, of a great influenza annihilating the world population, through indirect contact, in some form or fashion, needing, some kind of vaccine, or something of the sort, to offset this major catastrophic event. And some folks would even say, for instance, we could turn into zombies, or
just from a vaccine. Taking a vaccine,
and then later, at some later event, maybe turn it into something that we all know that isn't possible, right? So I mean, we love zombie movies. I love zombie movies.
Me
but,
too.
we realize that that's not really not something that could possibly happen.
Right.
Although less dramatic in a lot of ways, we're sort of living in the zombie apocalypse now.
For sure.
For instance, I was stuck in traffic one morning on my way to work, and I see a woman sitting on a concrete median beneath a bridge, swinging her feet like she was parlaying on the front porch.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And at first I was annoyed by the audacity of this person.
Yeah.
Sitting, in the middle of traffic, most of, everyone I'm assuming is going to work and going about their business. And, here this person is just sitting there like, like she just doesn't have a care in the world.
Yeah.
But then I started to reconsider some things, what had gone wrong in this person's life that would now find her in this type of, that would now allow her to find this type of behavior acceptable.
Right.
What happened? What
that caused her to revolt. In such a way.
What sort of breakdown took place in her life that would lead her to this this type of thing? So, and of course, it's easy to assume, it must be drugs or laziness, mental illness.
First thought.
Yes. Which is obviously maybe true in some cases.
For sure.
But the problem is, all those things are derivatives of a broken system, I think.
Yeah.
A system that values profits over human lives.
Yes, good either.
Ignorant of the fact that one day this sort of thinking or this sort of neglect might one day bite them in the ass. And one thing I never understood is how do you find it beneficial to draw a clear and distinctive line between the haves and the have-nots?
Yeah.
Right? Because if I don't have shit, where the hell you think I'm going to go to get it?
And the person that has it.
The person that has it.
Yeah.
Right? So I never understood this hoarding system of I want to be the only one that has money.
Capitalistic system.
I just, I don't get it. But as a system, maybe we should reconsider how we allocate our spending, and how we ensure our tax dollars are used more appropriately.
To help people like the woman sitting under the bridge.
That's sitting under the bridge.
Who may or may not have found peace.
Right.
But because of the standards that we have in society and what's deemed as important, to us it seemed like there's something wrong. But to her, it could have been complete bliss.
Complete bliss, honey.
Yeah.
And another thing that I think that's important to understand is the implications of this person being a stain on our eyes or being an inconvenience of sorts.
She's lowering the property values around here.
Right. But we don't understand that helping this woman or helping others in these situations is how we prosper. It's how we become that great nation that we all, seem to want to get back to. But, we don't understand that treating these people and helping them in those kind of situations is how we do it.
How we're going to push our community forward and clean the community up
clean
if
it
that's
up.
what you want to have happen. Right. You want the community clean. You don't want to see the sores, the scenery of other people's struggles.
Absolutely.
So what
honey.
can we do in order to clean the community up? And that's give back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, first I would like to say that I'm the woman you want in the zombie apocalypse. Get either?
I would say so.
I literally think that I am Michonne from The Walking Dead, manifested in a big old Natasha sack.
I've seen some of your moves.
You see my moves?
I would say you're pretty close, honey.
Yes, you see my moves. I love things. Okay. I don't have a staff like she does, but I do have a stick that I love to twirl around like it is a staff. I have nunchucks and I can, swing a sword a couple of times.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's,
I think you even broke a piece of my wall with the nunchucks.
So I was doing the nunchucks and I was like, whoops. Sorry.
And then you hit me with the stick one time. So, I mean, trust me, y'all. She's pretty dangerous with it. For
dangerous.
Sure.
But all jokes aside, because of the past that I survived, I've truly learned to thug it out.
Yeah, honey.
Going back to apocalypse now, zombie apocalypse now. And Gerito, to piggyback off of what you said about us living in the zombie apocalypse, some may say that the rise of social media and cell phone technology places us in the zombie apocalypse. No matter where you go, people are disengaged with the world around them and glued to their cell phones. In restaurants, walking down the street, on the bus, people are looking down at their cellular devices. Totally unaware of the real life world around them. Totally missing the beautiful moon that's still up.
Right.
And it's like 11 o'clock a.m. Totally oblivious to the sky and to the clouds that shaped like a unicorn,
Right.
Totally oblivious to all of those things. So, no one is looking up anymore. And we're barely looking forward, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I believe that, if there is such a thing as a zombie apocalypse, we're there, and it's, technology that's
we're
keeping
in it now,
us
honey.
Unaware and disengaged.
Yeah.
And also, hateful of other things and places and people.
Uncaring of other people and their situations.
Yeah.
Almost like zombies, right?
Yeah, desensitized, just like how we are desensitized by seeing a woman sitting on the median swinging her legs.
Right.
You know? Desensitization. Anyways, that's just my take on it.
Yeah.
But give you an example. It's weird right now to smile and speak to other people. I walk in. I don't even know. Like, I walk into a store and I'm like, "Hi," you know me. I'm already awkward. They're looking at me like, "Why is she speaking to me? Do I know her?"
Right.
Like, instead of saying, "Oh my gosh, hi."
Yeah.
They're wondering why I'm speaking to them and where do they know me from. Like, this is uncanny that someone that is unfamiliar is speaking to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, kids aren't going outside to play adventure games anymore.
Nope.
Remember, what are some of the things you used to play when you was out?
Oh
when
my
you was a
God.
kid?
God, I can remember, just going in the woods just to get lost, right?
Yes.
Just to get lost, just the adventure of feeling like I had to figure it out. I had to get home, or
before the lights,
or I was really gonna get in trouble.
Right.
Not, mind you, I'm, all the other dangers that I, faced being in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and I, but it just was, everything was an adventure, and it was fun to, go out into the world and kind of figure it out, for yourself. So
try telling our kids to go outside and play.
That's punishment. You remember when it was punishment to have to be in the house?
In our rooms, locked up in our rooms, all that. That was the worst.
That was the worst. Yeah.
But now tell the kids, like, go outside and play for a minute. They look at you like, okay, and that's what I mean. Like, are we not in the zombie apocalypse right now?
Yeah.
But another thing, I just want to say, like, as we move from the industrial age into the age of augmentation, we are looking more and more like the world after Skynet decided that humans was the one destroying the planet. And then this Terminator starts to rule. You remember the Terminator movie?
That was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
We are in the age of augmentation, the age of AI, artificial intelligence, and we're already seeing that these artificial intelligent beings are learning. And they're learning faster than us. And so immediately I go to Skynet. Like, they didn't think humans was a good idea to have on the earth.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of scary. So, the most important part about Skynet, though, is when it gained self-awareness, humans tried to deactivate it. You remember that in the movie? And when the humans tried to deactivate Skynet, that prompted it to retaliate with a nuclear attack.
Yeah, honey.
A nuclear attack.
Yeah.
And that was the event that humankind in the movie referred to as Judgment Day. So, when we're thinking about all of the Christianity, these fire and brimstone preachers growing up in the church, all I heard was about Judgment Day and the end of the world and
Mark of the Beast
and all of those things, right? So I don't know, but in all honesty, if you ask me, we have to move out of this getting back to normal mindset, especially after the pandemic. We've already,
that's a great point, honey.
We've already gone through our Judgment Day kind of, so to speak, and everybody is wanting to get back to normal.
Right.
I say, forget about that, because life as we know it has changed. Okay, wait a minute. Newsflash.
Yeah.
For my listeners in the back. Wait, is this thing on? Yeah,
I think it's on, honey.
Okay, it's thing on. Things will never get back to normal.
And what's normal, right?
Yes.
What's normal? Because normal means it's different for different people, right? Because if you mean normal, the same systematic racism and prejudiceness and hard to get along, like
who wants to go back to that?
I don't want to go back to that.
I don't want to go back to that.
So if you want to go back to this great America, right? That was only great for a specific group of people, then okay, but that wasn't great for me or necessarily my forefathers, right? Because I think we grew up in a generation where it was okay, right? Like we didn't really have to face any particular hardships other than just the things
microaggressions and things like that. But our ancestors and forefathers, they had to really fight for what we have today.
Right. So to go back to that, to me, is I have no thank you. I don't want to go back to things as normal or just it kind of reminds me of Shut Up and Dribble, right? It just kind of like that same sort of vibe to it, and I just don't like it. It's like, no, we need to have these conversations that we're having. We need to. Granted,
be uncomfortable the way that we are uncomfortable.
I hate that people have to die or, be abused or, marginalized in order for our eyes to open. Yeah. But it's certainly a dialogue that I welcome.
Yes,
and that should be, we should be having.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. just to piggyback off of that, just again repeating, life as we knew it is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone, guys. And y'all, instead, we should focus on how to rise from the debris. You know, we should figure out how to turn chaos into harmony.
Yeah, honey.
After this very horrible pandemic, you know, I feel like we need to be like water. You know,
Be like
flowing,
water.
yes, flowing, fluid, and resilient.
Yeah.
Right? We can rise from this, especially as a community. You know, if you moving forward, wanting to have things better, you know, one of the things that we should look forward to is, you know, building this fantastic community.
Yes,
and
right.
we're going to talk about that a little bit later
Absolutely.
too. You know, we're right now in a new life. We're in a new world. We have emerged, right? And to be quite honest, I'm kind of scared.
Yeah.
Are y'all scared? I'm super duper scared because, quite simply, you know, we all, especially women, should learn to survive in the case of a catastrophic situation, in case of a crisis. Ladies, you know, getting our hair done, our nails done, coveting those prestigious bags, or flicking up for the socials, it's all good. It's, I mean, more power to you.
Right. I mean, who don't like a Dooney and Burke?
Right, you look good, girl.
A little Coach purse.
You snatch, girl. Right? You super snatch, you know, and more power to you. But those aspirations and things we're spending money on will not help us when we have no power or
won't
no
mean a
water.
damn thing.
Be like, you can't get that quick weave in, you know, or your nails are busted. It's not gonna matter when you ain't got no water, or you know, or
and you know about
food.
Not having water. Honey.
Yes, y'all. I got my PSI badge.
Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah.
I don't have my number 2 outside badge yet.
Well,
but I do have my number 1 outside badge.
It's handy. It's
handy.
You
Yes.
know?
Now, I could be on the way to work, and if I have to go, I'll be like, I got my number 1 badge. I can pull over.
We don't have to go into any particulars. You don't want to gross you guys out, but I'm sure you can discern what we mean by number 1 and number 2.
Okay. But, I mean, really, ladies, like, having no power or no water, it's something to reckon with. It'll definitely change your perspective on what's important.
What you appreciate and what you... you know, kind of take for granted a little bit.
Yeah.
Things like toilet paper, or being able to flush a toilet,
right?
Or even use the bathroom on the toilet.
All right, or having to go and dump the septic. You guys don't have to do that. You don't do it. I don't have to do it.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Yes.
You know?
Right now you flush and it's away, but when you're living the type of life that we're living, and then also when you're faced with the zombie apocalypse, there's never no away.
There's no away.
It's always
you got to
there.
do something with it.
It's always there. So having our nails done, you know, will not be so vital.
Yeah, it's kind of irrelevant, honey.
Right? If we need to grow our own food, you know, while cooking over an open fire, which I have my cooking over an open fire badge too.
Yes, Master Chef badge.
I made soup yesterday.
Yes, you did.
I had loaded baked potato soup.
And it was quite tasty. Yes, it was.
Now, and alluding to Craig's point, you know, to the haves and haves not, like, you know, going back to that, I just, you know, with all jokes aside, when the stuff hit the fan, that get either. Yeah. Biz snatchers are coming for those Birkin bags, baby.
I'm telling you, they coming.
Biz snatchers is coming for the Birkin bags in case of a crisis. You about to get got for sure.
And they don't care about nothing in your life or just, you know, any kind of situation. So, you know, to cover those things that don't really have any real particular value is, I think, you know, we need to start taking a look at that.
Yeah.
You know,
not saying that there's anything wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely not. You know,
but you know, we've been there. We've had the best of things. We can get the best of things right now. This is the way we choose to live because we know we found value for our family.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely, honey. You know, one of the things that that's, you know, I wouldn't say an imminent threat, but something that I kind of wanted to discuss and kind of go over is something simple as like a major power outage.
right? Because we've all, dealt with a power outage,
Yeah.
right? But typically it's for a day, maybe 2 days, in some cases a little bit longer. But I think we all kind of have, a kind of a general comfort in knowing that eventually the power is going to get turned back on.
Right.
Right. So, but I would ask you to maybe think about it a little different. Imagine maybe your 8-year-old daughter waking up in the middle of the night with tears in her eyes, telling you that the lights won't come on, and that she's afraid that the boogeyman come get her. You calmly remind her that there's no such thing as a boogeyman, only bad people. And you quietly walk her back to her room, tuck her back, in her bed before eagerly returning to your own. Now you've overslept, right? Because your alarm isn't working,
Yeah.
and the power's out. A minor annoyance, like I said, at first, depending on the season, of course.
Yeah.
In the dead of winter, this could be a real problem.
Yes.
If the power isn't on by the time you return from work.
It definitely will be cold on the buttocks.
It'll be cold because your house hasn't had any heat on all day.
Yes.
And your house may be equivalent to the temperature of a food freezer.
Yeah.
And who wants to live in a house like that? That's unlivable.
Right.
And somehow you may even temper your worries with the insurance. Like I said, that it'll be fixed relatively soon. So you go about your day. You may even pour your kids some cereal, some cold cereal. You may down a 5-hour energy shot instead of your customary steaming hot cup of coffee. And you may do other things that kind of offset, what you would normally do if you had power.
Quick fixes.
Quick fixes. But then, as time goes on, you start to worry about some things. Maybe, for instance, all the food you just loaded in the fridge the day before.
Yep.
Wondering how long it'll last or it'll hold before it goes bad. And I think that's most adults, right? Like, I think that's a pretty common thing to worry about.
Yeah, especially if you just bought a lot of food.
Especially if you just bought a lot of food. But to continue down the rabbit hole, to make matters worse, what if your car won't start, right? Making you not only late, but completely unable to get to work. But then when you get out of your car, you notice your neighbor across the street is also struggling to get his car started as well. Locking eyes, you both kind of shrug in silent confusion. What the hell is going on, you wonder? Concerned, but not ready to hit the doomsday alert button, you go back into the crib in search of an old battery-powered FM AM radio. Then you pull out that long-ass antenna, turn the dial between the two frequencies with nothing but mostly static. Frustrated, you finally find a station that's barely audible, and then someone mentions something about a massive cyber attack, wiping out all the grids across the country. Straight up blackout. You're scared shitless when you hear the sound of an automatic weapon ring out close to your home. The last thing you want to the last thing you want to see is the look of sheer terror on your family's faces. With no proper means of preparation, even a basic what-if conversation is better than nothing. A few years ago, many of these things would have seemed far-fetched, right?
Right.
But given how desensitized our culture has become, the possibilities have become all the more real, especially as of late.
Especially after the pandemic.
A lot of things shifted. I think that you kind of touched on it a little earlier today with, people wanting to continue on as normal, not realizing that this shift, has changed everything.
Yeah.
Not just the way we work, or go to school, but also how we live. It's
and how we interact with
and
others.
how we interact. I think that's probably the biggest one, honey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people developed a lot of social anxiety, and other things from being in the house for so many weeks
2
at a time.
years, yeah, a couple of years.
But all these things that are coming to fruition, so to speak. Yet this is one of many scenarios, that could take place that would cause you to be, out of sorts, and that would cause you to, have to implement a end of the world type of scenario.
So the
situation.
first scenario is a complete blackout.
A complete blackout, and
Wow.
that's something that can easily happen. Cyber attack, natural disaster.
Yep.
There's a couple of different ways that we can lose power. But just a few other things to consider as real possible outcomes, as I just mentioned, that could put you and your family in dire straits, right? As something like like a third world war.
Which is completely plausible.
It's completely plausible, and it almost seems imminent, given the fact that Putin doesn't seem really, like a real reasonable person.
No, not at all.
It doesn't seem like he wants
scary.
to. It's a little scary, right? When you know
Yes.
that pretty much the whole world is against you, and you're still willing to do what you're doing.
Yes.
that sort of commitment to devastation is.
And then the China balloon.
And then the China balloon.
Something that happened in the last couple of days.
And things like that. It's not coincidence, right?
No.
It means something. So those sort of events taking place is it's a likely situation. It's not something that folks want to think about or even walk around pondering. You got to live your life, but still, it's
something that you need to prepare
it's something
for.
to be prepared for sure.
Yeah.
And also, of course, we have catastrophic natural disasters. That depending on what coast you live, that's always kind of a major thing. Here in Seattle, it's always been said that we're due for a major earthquake. At any moment, causing a lot of structural or just major infrastructure damage. That could change a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Or even something like maybe a foreign invasion,
Yeah.
right? People don't think about that concept, especially in America. Someone,
And they should, because of 9/11.
Right.
That was definitely a foreign
That was a
invasion.
foreign invasion.
Or so they say.
Yeah.
They're mapped. Look, I don't know. I wasn't there.
right.
I only heard about it just like
Well,
y'all did.
that's-
But they said it was a foreign invasion.
It definitely was a foreign invasion.
Yes.
And how they did it was, very tactical. I think that, the misconception of, like I said, our air superiority and just our military might, I think, gives people a false sense of hope and security.
Yep.
And even if you just think about America geographically, right, where there's two huge bodies of water on both sides.
Yeah.
So whoever invaded our country, so to speak, would have to come from a distance over a body of water, right? And that's what makes, Hawaii and other, some of those other coastal or Costa Rica, some of those Dominican Republic, it makes some of those places,
Central and South America.
right, because it gives us a great position on the world stage. So, those sort of things, I think, like I said, I think it just gives people a false sense of hope.
Yeah.
But the world is getting smaller, right?
Yep.
I mean, like you said, that Chinese balloon got close enough to do some kind of damage, right? Well, I mean, if it had missiles or if it had, like you said, some sort of gas inside the balloon that could have
Right.
dispersed, like that could have caused a lot of damage. So it may not necessarily come with ground troops and tanks, right? Like an invasion may not be what we come to
Imagine
know
it to be.
as things are changing. There's 100 million different ways.
We're in the age of augmentation.
Absolutely. So, but also some even like enforcing the enforcement of martial law, right?
That's a big one.
That's a huge one. Imagine crime getting so bad in our country that you could be shot or dismembered on sight for stealing the candy bar or running a red light. People don't think about those sort of implications.
I
But
wouldn't make it because I run red lights all the time.
I'm telling you, and we just have this disregard for, law.
And we have this disregard for how close we've come. within the last few years, because not only people keep saying, okay, the pandemic, but we also had a social war during the pandemic with the death of George Floyd.
Yes.
And how many times were we threatened with martial law? Actually, how many times were martial law imposed to make sure that we were in curfew? That we were inside the way that we were supposed to.
Well,
so,
especially when you think about situations like Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that showed if you get out of line, or if you, you know, get to, you know, a certain point of, you know, maybe, you know, not necessarily resisting, because I'm not advocating resisting.
Right, of course.
You know, police are trying to do their job.
Please don't resist, y'all.
Please do not resist. But
know your rights.
You know, it
but
definitely,
you don't need to resist.
Right. It definitely showed that, you know, if a group of people stood up, you know, and spoke out, that, you know, something potentially could be done to you. You know, so I think it was an eye opener, you know, for a lot of people, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, querido.
Absolutely.
All of the above mentioned scenarios are very plausible.
Yeah.
You know, at any moment, at any time, right?
For sure.
And Washington State, where we live, has the second highest risk of large earthquakes in the United States.
I didn't know that, honey. Wow.
Earthquakes are caused by tectonic plates shifting. It's literally the process of breaking and moving rock, and this of large amounts of energy. I don't know. I couldn't find the word. Like it's the of large amount of energy.
Okay. I like that. That's you know, that definitely you know, exemplified.
Well, the majority of earthquakes happen along fractures within the earth where rocks move past each other. And these fractures are called fault lines. I know that you guys, you know, probably already know this, but I'm just talking for those who hasn't, you know, heard much about it. That don't live in areas prone to earthquakes. This sudden shift and movement of rock caused by the ground and the shifting of the ground, and it causes it to shake, and all of this energy travels in waves across the land. So that's what we're feeling too. Not only do we feel the movement of the ground, but we also feel the
vibration
that is emanated. That it goes, I don't know the word. It goes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we feel.
Yes. Yes. Now, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources states that in the next 50 years or so, Washington's populated areas, like all of the big cities and stuff, they have a 40 to 80% chance of experiencing a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Yeah.
That's almost like guaranteed, honey. I mean.
Yeah. It's within the next 50 years.
Wow.
So, you know, where we live, Guerrero, we sit where two plates come together, giving us the potential of a large offshore earthquake that will impact the entire I-5 corridor all the way to the Puget Sound region.
Yeah.
So that's also like over there in Port Angeles where I used to live. So if that earthquake actually happened, that peninsula would break off into multiple small islands.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a part of a state and an earthquake separates you and casts you out to sea, essentially.
Yeah.
What the hell do you do?
Right. Who's coming to
Who's
help
going
you?
to come?
Yeah. Like
you're not even part of America anymore. You're your own
like,
country.
Like, we don't know y'all. It'd be like, get somebody else to do it.
That would be such a disaster, honey. Oh my goodness.
It will be in a disaster, you know. You know, and I heard when I went to this training once where they said that it would take at least 30 days before anyone would be able to come and help them. At least. No, that's you can put your money on no help for at least 30 days.
Imagine somebody, I mean, just I'm sure we've all been camping, right?
Right.
You go camping for 3 days.
You
ready to
boss.
take your ass home. I need a shower. I need my creature. I need my tea. I need something. I need to plug into a socket. I don't care what it is. I just need to plug something in somewhere.
Yes.
30 days?
30 days at least. Just look forward to not hearing anything from anyone for 30 days or more. Yes.
So just think about, let's pause on that for a second, honey. 30 days. Well, how you going to get water?
And the water's out. You know.
Where you going to get food?
Yes.
If you don't know how to hunt.
Healthcare.
What if you get cut?
Yeah.
And you have no antiseptics?
Nothing.
No Band-Aids?
Nothing. What if you have, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but, what about the family members who are disabled or small kids, or what are you going to do to make sure that they're okay, that they have water, that they're bathing, that they're eating, that they're warm, because we're in Washington, even in the summertime at night, it's kind of chilly here.
Right.
That they're warm. What are you supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do?
Well, as I mentioned about that community meeting, they definitely was talking about this earthquake happening and making, practical strategies or coming up with practical strategies to survive in a situation like that. Some of the things that they were saying is that, maybe talking to people in your community, finding out what, trades they have, what skills and hobbies that can be beneficial in a time like that. Actually coming up with a plan, a meeting place, a roster, so that you're able to keep up with everybody. So it's the people are really like making, plans for this devastating earthquake to happen.
Which they should.
Yeah. Mil.wa.gov reports that children under 5 and adults over the age of 65 are more likely to need help and direction to evacuate safely. And again, the loved ones that we have living not only with physical disabilities but mental disabilities. Trying to get them to understand, like our loved ones with mental disabilities, trying to get them to understand that we need to move and move now. How do we get everyone to safety? Yeah. Not only that, not only after a 7.1 mag earthquake, because we live by water, so after an earthquake, then follows...
We got to worry about a tsunami.
A tsunami. Yeah. So it's like a double whammy. It
is a double whammy.
Yeah. It would not take long before civil unrest rose to the surface. So... Yeah.
It definitely wouldn't take long at all, honey, with those sort of events taking place.
Yeah.
And, and I read in James Wesley's How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It, he mentioned that if the entire grid system went down on the East and West Coast for more than just a week, how increasingly dangerous our society would become because of this. If you took the nicest person you ever met, let's just say your neighbor, and made them cold, wet, tired, hungry, or bored with none of his devices or, things he uses to entertain himself with or herself with, how do you think that person would respond over a period of time without these things?
Yeah. Wouldn't be a nice way.
It wouldn't be nice, And this same person, right, may not necessarily have, kept himself in the best of shape. He doesn't fill up his gas tank all the way, right? Yeah. Like he hasn't really done anything, to make any, preparations in case of an emergency. Yeah. But yet this is the same person that you've had tons of conversations, on numerous occasions about the food rations and ammo you stockpiled over the years. Yeah. Where do you think this person's gonna go? When shit hit the fan, right? So it's just one of those things that you do have to be a little bit mindful, about what you're sharing, and who you're sharing with.
That part.
And not, obviously you want, to be friendly with your neighbor because obviously in the end of the world scenario, you need your neighbors, you need to count on people, and you need to rally, you need allies. Yeah. But you also need to be smart too. Yeah. So telling, your neighbor that your whole ammo and, gun situation is underneath your bed and telling them everything, but the combination is probably not the best thing. That's,
Or the most safe
or the most safe thing
to move.
It's okay to share,
right?
But I would say just use a little bit of caution. You know.
Don't show your hand.
Don't show your hand.
Yeah, don't show all the cards.
That's
in your
exactly
hand.
it. That's exactly it, honey.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you can do to stay prepared? There's just a few little things that we can do, little simple things.
Yeah.
Just little practical things. Things like maybe make a food storage list.
Yeah.
What items you can store for long periods of time before they go bad.
Yep.
And maybe make small attempts to buy, little canned goods here and there. Maybe, you buy a can of beans here and a can of beans there. You don't necessarily have to take out a big chunk of money to, stockpile food, especially in situations where there's no, catastrophic event going on.
Yeah.
Like right now, you can go to the store. Next time you go to the store, you don't even have to make it anything in particular. But next time you're at the store, buy extra,
Vienna sausage.
Vienna sausage, or
I like a Vienna sausage.
Aluminum foil, or
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt to have those extra things, because they, number one, don't deteriorate, and number two, you'll use it at some point, even if it's not an end of the world scenario.
Right.
So, that's just one of the things that I felt like would be helpful, but also, things like maybe making also a personal list, for each member in your family, things that they would need.
The inhaler,
eyeglasses, shit that you probably
your
wouldn't
medicine.
think in the spirit of the moment, right?
Yeah.
So having that list could help, save someone's life, or at least make it a little bit more comfortable.
Especially with the elderly and the
especially
people
with the elderly
under
people.
5.
Especially with
because
because grandma need her glasses,
right?
She need her pills, more than likely. Grandpa need his pills. So, making a list of those things and kind of knowing ahead of time what they'll need, or even collecting or making a quick bag that you can grab. A lot of people call it a dummy bag, or a zombie bag, or bug out bag. Just making a list and maybe keeping those things, easy to grab if you have the responsibility of having to care. Like, in our situations, we don't have to necessarily worry about an elderly person, but clearly, there's people who do have to worry about that. So if you do have young kids and you do have elderly people that you have to care for, maybe, it might be a good idea to have their own separate bug out bag with just the things that they need.
That's good, Dad.
So
good.
Yeah. And then, just really quick, maybe also maybe a physical health list. Keep it up on dental and vision. I know that's a big thing. Because in a end of the world scenario, obviously there won't be many dentists around, or it'll be a while before those sort of things are reestablished, right?
Yeah.
So keeping up on those things, and your health and your vision and your teeth will always keep you, somewhat, I guess, fresh or relevant in terms of your health.
Right, or just prepared in the case of emergency, like you're in good health, like your vision is, you've got the necessary glasses that you need, or contacts, and then, you've taken care of your teeth, because in a situation like that, you probably won't be able to, so those preventative measures will help in time of crisis.
Totally, because it may go a couple months before you're able to see a doctor or to see a dentist, so having updated care will allow you to go long periods without major situations taking place. So that's something to definitely take note of. But something also that may be kind of touchy for some folks. We definitely don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah.
But things like maybe trying to keep in shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, because we talked about that, I think, off the recording earlier, when we said that if you are heavy set, right, and say for instance you're in a tsunami situation, and you have to get up and you have to move quickly. You are at risk. Whether you're at risk of the tsunami actually overtaking you, and
I'm glad this is called the Untold Experience.
and we talk about it. That's what we do.
We have to talk about it.
And I I don't want to offend anyone,
right?
But I do want you to be mindful,
right?
Right? And this is kind of a this is we're giving advice, right?
Yeah.
And these are things that people should think about in a survival situation, because it could cost you your life,
right? For sure. It's totally relevant.
Yeah, honey.
Yeah.
And there's always other things that you could make a list of. Anybody can make a list, right, of anything that you wanted. Whether you have disinfectants, hand sanitizer, burn treatment, aspirin, but something that also maybe a touchy subject for some. But you have to think about things like security, right? And whether you agree with or advocate for guns or not, in a desperate situation, I don't know if you necessarily want to be caught without one, right?
Yeah.
Because regardless of whether you feel about guns or not, somebody else out there is going to have them. Right. So
exactly.
How are you going to protect your family?
Right.
You could say, "Oh, no, I'm not going to touch a gun. I'm just going to use the baseball bat or whatever other means of protection that you put in place of it."
But best believe the people that are coming against you, they are loaded,
and they don't care.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, they don't care about morals. They don't care about honor. They don't care about how you feel about guns. So, I would, I hate to say it. People do what they want, right? And I'm not saying people should buy a gun,
right?
In case shit goes wrong,
right?
Because that's it's just more. I feel like that's what they've been doing to us all these years, right? This is going to happen. Go buy this,
right?
Right? Everything is fear based, and that's how we sell products, But
we're just trying to come from a knowledge-based standpoint.
Right.
Yeah. We don't want you to operate from a spirit of fear, right?
Yeah,
we want you to operate from a knowledge base. So we give you the knowledge, we give you what we deem works for us and our family, and you take what you want, and leave the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think it's also very important to realize that under these obviously would be stressful times,
right,
that there are things that people can use and can help kind of get through some emotional times, and I think taking note of that, and just being respectful of the fact that, people may need certain things to ensure their comfort. Someone may need a family photo, someone may need a teddy bear or a blanket or whatever it is, an animal, that could become something that's very detrimental in a survival situation, is protecting your animal, and then, what do? You might want to make a bug out bag for your little kitty, all right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to need food, they're going to need comfort, right? As they comfort you, you will need to comfort them, and it's, definitely something to think about.
Yeah, and emotional support is big,
Huge. Just in life in general,
especially in life, but also in a crisis situation.
Yeah.
Not only do you need to have that emotional support, but you also have to be, have good mental health yourself. You need to have good mental health, and whatever you need to do, whether that's self-care, whether that's journaling, whether that's speaking to a counselor, any of those things that get you mentally fit.
Yeah, honey.
So it's not only relevant for you to be physically fit so that you're able to, move in a fast, in a crisis environment, but you also need to be mentally fit as well.
Yeah.
Okay, segue. Okay, great. Okay. So I want to encourage everyone to acquaint themselves with things that would help them in a crisis situation.
Yeah.
And some of those things is like the everyday household items that you might have laying around the house and finding out how to repurpose those. Or, just diving into herbalism of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, things like, picking up a book, and reading about things like herbalism, botany, and ecology. These are remedies, and this will help you to be acquainted with natural herbs, natural plants,
Mm-hmm.
and things that you have around the house that you could use for food or medicine. Right? Because in a crisis situation, apocalypse now,
Mm-hmm.
you can't just go to the emergency room and be like, "Bitch, Natchez, I'm hurt." And they gonna look at you like, "Bruh, you don't see." Yes. So anyway, being able to be sufficient when it comes to food and medicine is going to be
It's huge.
ideal. Yeah,
that's
in a
huge,
crisis situation.
Yeah.
So, just below are a few plants and herbs that I found, that are here in Washington, that could be used for food and medicine.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so,
cool, honey.
Let's start off with the first one. Arrowhead.
Mm-hmm.
Arrowhead is a green plant, and the leaves looks like arrows. Pretty self-explanatory. You walk across them, you will probably recognize them. They usually grow in calm and plain waters and at the foothills. They're edible, so you can eat them raw or cooked. They can be stored for several months. So when you talked about earlier being able to store food or buying food that you're able to store for several months, you can find this in Arrowhead, and Arrowhead grows naturally. You don't have to pay for it.
Wow.
Be careful though, because some species can cause skin reactions.
Mm-hmm.
And it is said that arrowheads treat headaches, and it's said to also be a diuretic. Yep. Pretty cool, huh? Then the next one is asparagus. And you guys know what asparagus is.
What?
Yeah, it's the green shoots. They're both edible and raw. And they actually grow naturally by roadways in any disturbed area here in Washington. You can find some asparagus.
Just growing on the road?
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure when they're young, though, you're being careful, because when they're young asparagus, they can actually cause skin irritations. Asparagus is said to decrease blood pressure. Wow. It's also an anti-inflammatory, so in a crisis situation, if you're swelling, you can either apply it to the skin or eat it, and it could serve as an anti-inflammatory.
So when you say apply it to the skin, honey, do you mean just like take a piece of asparagus and just rub it on your buttocks?
Me and my little belief systems, I believe you have to activate it. So by activating it could be chopping it up, or smashing it, or putting it in the blender and making some type of paste out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that activating it, yeah.
Because see, I just had this picture in mind, like you just take a piece of asparagus, just rub it on your butt.
My butt is swollen. Let me
get some asparagus. Like, wait a minute, I was gonna make that for dinner.
It's not for your buttocks. Anyway. It has antiviral effects and also anti-cancer effects. Yeah.
Wow.
Asparagus is pretty cool. Bittercress. Now, bittercress looks like a plant with small white flower bulbs on top of it. So they grow in moist woods and meadows, and also in the mountain regions. They're also edible, raw or cooked. It has a peppery taste, so I would use it as a seasoning of some sort. Like if you find some game out there that you killed during the apocalypse, you can season your meat with a little bit bittercress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has pepper taste to it. Now there are two types here in the Pacific Northwest, and that's the heartleaf bittercress and the Pennsylvania bittercress. Those will be in the show notes. If you want to take a look at these pictures, please feel free. I'll have it all there.
That's good info, honey.
Yeah. Bittercress is also known to remove carcinogens from the body, and carcinogens are just simply substances that cause cancer in living tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So way to go. Oh, and also help with cataracts. So y'all don't keep stop saying that's why y'all smoking the ganja. Because you got cataracts.
Yeah.
You can get you some bittercress.
Get you some
bittercress.
All right, guys. That's it for now. This is a great episode.
Yeah, super awesome. Man.
Yeah. We appreciate you guys listening. And until the next time.
Till the next time.
Holla at y'all.
Bye.